Well, on tour to promote her book, What Happened, Clinton accused Donald Trump, among many others, of playing the race card during his inauguration. Watch this.
So there I was on the platform, you know, feeling like an out-of-body experience. And then his speech, which was a cry from the white nationalist gut.
This American carnage stops.
What an opportunity to say, okay, I'm proud of my supporters, but I'm the president of all Americans. That's not what we heard at all.
Michael Starr Hopkins is a Democratic strategist. He joins us tonight. You know, I was sitting as I watched this, I remember thinking at the time, pretty good of her to come to the inauguration. Yeah. Didn't have to. I thought it was kind of magnanimous. To say this, though, diminishes her, it divides the country, and it's factually insane. You listened to the inaugural. Where was the white supremacist part?
I mean, Donald Trump is harkened back to the Nixon strategy. He's used the Lee Atwater playbook pretty much since he walked down that golden escalator.
What does that mean?
I mean, it's very specific.
Let's be precise. She said the speech was a white nationalist speech.
Yeah.
I listened to the speech. He talked all about how we need to rebuild our inner cities, which are not primarily white, as you know. How is that a white nationalist speech?
Because we know what Donald Trump was actually hearkening to was that urban cities are nothing but forgotten places where African Americans are nothing but criminals. It's why when he made the comments coming down the elevator, or escalator rather, at Trump Tower, he talked about Mexicans were rapists. They're sending over their worst.
Mexican immigrants and Americans who live in inner cities are two different groups. He's saying, I mean, I watched the speech. Whatever you think of what he's done or whatever, he was saying, look, these places have been ignored. They're run entirely by Democrats, as you know, as vote farms.
Which Republicans have made sure to ensure that Democrats couldn't vote.
They're run by Democrats. They're super depressing. They're horrible. And here's Trump is saying, like, let's fix these places. And that's white nationalism?
Well,
kind of a weird version of white nationalism.
Let's not pretend that Donald Trump really wants to fix the problems that ail Chicago.
Why would he say it?
Because he's hearkening back to
because the Klan wants to hear him talk about how we need to send more money to Detroit?
No, because
I mean, like, it doesn't make any sense.
Because think about it, Chicago. He often uses Chicago as his fallback to why urban areas have been forgotten, why black people should vote for him. As he said in his own words, vote for me. What else do you have to risk?
Let's just apply logic here just for really quick. I know it never happens in Washington. But if you were really a racist, if you were a white nationalist who wanted to hurt non-white people, you'd be pretty psyched about what's going on in Chicago.
No. I mean,
yeah, you would be, because what you're seeing is African Americans shooting each other. So why would you be worried about that if you were a racist?
But see, that's the narrative that certain media companies have used. The actual rate of people killing each other, black people are killing black people because we all live in the same neighborhood. White people are killing other people.
No, but I'm not even making that point. I'm not making that point. I'm just saying, if you were a racist, you would not be concerned about what's happening on the south side of Chicago. You wouldn't be concerned about Detroit. I guess you'd be applauding it. And he's doing the opposite. But I'm merely saying, like, there's no evidence. I think she should stop talking this way because there's no evidence that it's true, and it scares the crap out of people.
But it is true. Let's look at what Hillary Clinton said during her campaign. She said that Donald Trump was uniquely unqualified. He is. He has not managed to fulfill all the things. She said his temperament was bad.
That's all fair.
His temperament is bad.
Look, that's all fair.
Yeah.
What I object to is the race stuff, because it leaves permanent scars. It divides us more than we need to be. Here's what she said. Here's what she said in that ludicrous interview with Jane Pauley. She said Trump was successful in referencing nostalgia that would give hope, comfort, and settle grievances for millions of people who are upset about the gains made by others.
Let's look specifically at what
you're saying is millions of white people, Pauley said. Millions of white people, yeah, Clinton replied. Now imagine if Mitt Romney had said in a post-election interview, you know, I lost because of millions of resentful black people.
Yeah,
if he said, no,
he did. After he lost the election, he came out and said the reason I lost is because Obama was willing to give to takers and I wasn't.
If he had said millions of resentful black people voted for me because they don't like whites, I would have said, Mitt Romney, that's a disgusting thing to say. I never would have stood by while he said something like that. That's an awful thing to say. I can't believe she said that. I mean, blaming people by their race? Like, what is this anyway? Are you allowed to do that now?
Hillary Clinton was not blaming people by their race specifically.
Well, she says it right here.
Hold on,
millions of white people.
Let's look specifically. Yeah. Making America great again. Where did that come from? From Nixon. Literally, the campaign slogan of Donald Trump was the campaign slogan that Richard Nixon used to divide people by races.
It's a pretty obvious one. I mean,
let's take our country back. Where did that come from?
The country's in decline. Any person awake who's like, I'm in my late 40s, I've lived it. Everyone knows that. It's not racist to note that. It's also not racist to note that rich people, all of whom are liberal, by the way, have a disparate.
The Mercers aren't Democrats.
There are some rich conservatives, but in general, the richer you are, the more liberal you are. Look at the exit polling.
I hang out with a lot of rich
okay,
Republicans.
there are some, but I'm just saying overall.
Okay.
They have a disproportionate amount of power. Never before in American life has power been concentrated in fewer hands than it is now.
I agree with you.
So Trump
absolutely.
ran against all that. There's nothing with race at all. And all of a sudden he's a white nationalist? Like, what you're missing is what's actually happening in America.
I agree with you. Democrats need a more economic message.
And you think?
And I think that that's something that Democrats are going to be better with doing.
Millions of white people. By the way, I don't think you should be allowed to dismiss people on the basis of their race. Like, we should just say that's a rule. Millions of white people. I think we should stop right there. If I was doing the interview, I'd say, whoa, wait a second. But what did you just say?
Hillary Clinton didn't dismiss people by their race.
Yes, she did. She did.
That's not.
This is the transcript of the interview.
Yeah, but you're giving a portion, half of a sentence of what she said.
I read the entire paragraph.
What she's saying is
people were upset about gains made by others. Resentment. They didn't like seeing people who don't look like them succeed, so they voted for Donald Trump.
So you don't think that Donald Trump exploited white people's fears after Obama?
I guess what I'm against is making generalization. I mean, I think Obama really hurt, this is my own view, really hurt America in a lot of ways that you sort of weren't allowed to say because they were constantly saying, oh, if you don't like Obama, you don't like Obamacare, you're a racist. And people were like, oh, okay, I won't say anything. But he really did kind of hurt America. He divided it. And this was in part a reaction against that, but it doesn't mean they're racist.
I agree with you. I think there's a conversation America needs to have about how we move forward. But I think Donald Trump has done something which is really dangerous, and that he's played on the fears and insecurities of white America to push an agenda which he doesn't even support. Donald Trump's not a Democrat. He's not a Republican.
But why did he get more Hispanic votes and more African-American votes than Mitt Romney did?
I mean, Mitt Romney, after the 47% tape, and after Sandy, he had his own issues to deal with.
No, but I'm just saying Trump got more.
Donald Trump
he got
also,
more. I mean, it's kind of weird.
But he lost by a smaller margin than Mitt Romney did. So let's not pretend like he was this amazing presidential candidate.
No, I'm just saying, as a demographic breakdown, it's kind of interesting that this white nationalist got more black votes than Mitt Romney did. But whatever.
We'll see how that works out come 2020.
Mr. Hopkins, thank you for joining us.
It's always good to see you, man.